I'll briefly tell my arc of becoming a pop producer, because I worked under Eric Valentine, was doing rock records, and got hired by a few big labels and proper budgets when I was in my 20s. And then I got asked to work on an instrumental track for the X Factor US, doing a remake of I Love Rock and Roll for like $1,000 or whatever it was. And I was like, sure, I guess. Then shout out David Gray, the A&R guy who hired me because he liked Eric Valentine. I did that, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's not, I don't want to write and produce. I want to write and produce records. I don't want to just do like remakes for TV. But then 6 months later, he and Savin asked me to work on another X Factor US artist, like an actual production on the album. And it wasn't something I was super excited about, but my manager at the time, Maria Egan, shout out to her, said, this is something you can do, and it's good to build this relationship, and it's important. And Savin and David Gray are involved with a lot of things. And so I did that and ended up doing a few more, just like album tracks, kind of last minute, lower budget for them, but good budget for me. And then 6 months later, because I'd done that chain of events, they asked me to do a spec production on a One Direction song, which was Best Song Ever, which became a big hit. And then all of a sudden I'm a pop producer. So that's a perfect situation where it's like, it was smart to do it for the relationship and then do another thing for a little money in the relationship. And then all of a sudden you get the big opportunity. So people are always trying to over hustle for these sort of things. Always, always, always. But some of those opportunities are really, really important. And relationships, long-term relationships with people you're going to work a lot with or have big opportunities with are super, super important.
Yes, and just to go stay on that thread, there's, you speak of hustling. People in the industry talk, right? So if you hook up someone with a favor, that they're going to tell someone else that you did it, and then that person's going to also come to you for that, right? So you have to be careful with who you offer this to, which might be a case against offering favors to people and kind of just knowing your worth. But your story is the perfect example of what could happen in the best case scenario, where you have trustworthy people that believed in you and gave you a shot, and then gave you what you deserve in the future. So that's a great example of how it could go, and you have to be careful on who you invest in that way with. And your manager at the time was very strategic, and you trusted her. And I trusted her,
and she had the relationships, and I trusted her relationships, and that's the reason I did it, and that's the reason.
My advice here on this note is that one shouldn't overextend themselves and do that with everybody, because it potentially could end up where Matt's story ends up. It's because of all the people involved that had trust that correlated to that outcome, and I think that's really important to note.
This is maybe a broader point. Get yourself and be a part and participate in networks of people that do good work and trust each other and connect each other with things. And oftentimes that doesn't mean upfront money all the time, but a great network means career and long-term money for sure. A network of people, as we talk about, the Naval thing. Compound interest is an important part of finance. Compound relationships is an important part of being an entrepreneur, which, by the way, everyone watching this, we all are entrepreneurs on some level. As much as we are creatives, like having some comfort and understanding of the entrepreneurial part of your brain is super, super important.